So, welcome all. Today we are going to discuss about strategic management. Strategic management is a very interesting subject. It's very vast, but it's very interesting. We'll see the session in two. All right. So today we are going to look into what is the concept of strategy, strategic management, and the stages. We'll see into formation. All right. So let's see what is strategy first. Strategy is derived from the Greek word strategos, which means turbulences. So strategy means turbulences. And in present organizational level, strategy means dealing with the risk and uncertainties the organization is facing. So the strategy is a collection of integrated actions and commitments to focus on the core, to achieve an organizational objective, focusing on the core competencies of the organization. So strategy is an integration of all the actions and commitments from the organization to achieve a competitive advantage through its core competences. So what is competitive advantage? Competitive advantage is unique to the organization that helps the organization as a separate entity from its competitors that set aside the organization. So strategy means all the integrated actions and commitments undertaken by the organization to achieve a competitive advantage through its core competences. Now let's see what is strategic management. Strategic management is the art and science of formulating, implementing and evaluating the various cross-functional sections and decisions to achieve its objectives. So strategy is the actions undertaken by the organization to achieve organizational objectives, and strategic management includes formation, implementation and evaluation of these cross-functional activities for the achievement of organizational objectives. And strategic management deals with the threats and use the opportunities. With its core competences, the organization deals with threats and use their existing opportunities to achieve its organizational objective. And by nature, strategic management is change-oriented. So an organization's strategic management is never static. When a change happens, the organization adapt to the change and redefines its strategy to deal with the change. So we have seen strategy and strategic management. Now let's see the various stages of strategic management. In simple words, strategic management means understanding where the company is at present and deciding where the company wants to be in future. And in between, they discuss how from there to where it is being attained. Understood. So strategy is dealing with turbulences. Strategy is the actions undertaken by the organization to achieve the organizational objective. And strategic management is the integrated actions undertaken by the organization to achieve the core competences competitive advantages of the organizations through its core competences. And in simple words, strategic management is understanding where the organization is, where they want to be in future, and how they reach there. So let's see the various stages of strategic management. Strategic management simply could be divided into three different stages. First is the formation stage, second is the implementation stage, and finally, evaluation and control. So let's see what is strategic formation. The first stage is strategic formation, and we will see this stage in detail today. And the other two stages we will see in the next session. All right. So strategic formation consists of strategic intent, internal audit, external audit, general strategy alternative, and finally, corporate business and functional strategies. So strategic management has got three stages: strategic formation, strategic implementation, and evaluation and control. And the first stage is strategic formation. Strategic formation consists of various substages. First is we'll see strategic intent, then external audit, internal audit, generic strategy alternative, and corporate, business, and functional strategies. All right, let's see what is strategic intent. Strategic intent means the first stage of formation stage where we will see the organization's vision, mission, business definition, goals, and objectives. So the organization, if and when they develop the strategic for the organization, they will have to first develop the vision, then the mission, then they define their business, then they understand their goals and objectives. As we go down the line, the clarity of the concept increases. For an organization, vision will be vast. It's like the long-term vast set goal. Vast vision of the forefathers of the company. So the vision of the organization may be to survive in an organization, to survive in the market with the quality products. So it's very blurred. To achieve the vision, the organization has to develop the mission for the organization. So mission means what the company want to be. So vision is what the company want to be, and mission is how the company will achieve its vision. The vision could be long term. It's the founding fathers' ideology. So mission means how we are going to achieve the vision. So it could be like short term. For example, in 50 years, the company is going to be in a very competitive position in the market. So what are the steps need to be undertaken by the organization to achieve the vision? That is mission. So the next company has to develop the business definition. Business definition is nothing other than an understanding about the business itself. All about the business comes under business definition. Business definition is defined with three components. The identifying your customer group, customer function, and the alternative technologies. Customer group is understanding who your customers are. Customer function is nothing other than your product. How you are retaining or acquiring your customer is the customer function. And alternative technologies is how the customer function is attained. So we see the definition as well. So strategic intent consists of vision, mission, business definition, goals, and objectives. Vision is the founding fathers' ideology of the company. Mission is how we are going to attain the vision. Then the third is business definition, that is all about the business, understanding of all about the business. And then the goals. Goals are long term. Objectives as well are goal term, but long term, whereas goals are qualitative. However, the objective is quantitative. So an organization goal may be to produce quality products, whereas its objective may be to achieve 1 million profit in so and so year. So that's the difference between goal and objective. So strategy formation has got various substages. The first substage is strategic intent. And in strategic intent, the organization has to set its vision, mission, business definition, goals, and objectives. So the second substage is the external audit. For an organization to form its strategy, they have to first develop the strategic intent for the organization, and second, to develop a strategy, they have to do external audit. External audit is external analysis itself. That is analyzing the external factors of the organization, where the organization is organization is working, or the organization is existing. So the external audit is the analysis of the factors outside the business. External audit is analyzing the opportunities and threat profile. That is, these opportunities and threats are external to the business. So understanding the opportunities and threats is the main purpose of external audit. So how external audit is done? By analyzing the external environment, and external environment could be both micro as well as macro. So the macro environment means a larger outside environment to the organization, and micro environment is the smaller outside environment to the organization. Once the strategic intent is set, now the organization has to do the external audit. External audit is done by analyzing the factors outside the business and understanding how these factors have an impact on your business or organization as a whole. Understood. For doing the external audit or external analysis, the major tool used is pestle analysis. Pestle analysis is the best tool for analyzing the external factors to the business. Pestle means political, economic, social, technological, environment, and legal factor analysis. So let's see each factor in detail. Political factors. The political factors means all those political factors that has an impact on the organization or the business we are doing, which could impact the final objective of our organization, or which could impact the survival or the existence of the organization. Give me a second. All right. So the pestle factors, first one is political factor. Political factor includes all the political activities like the government policies, political stability, regulatory environment, etc., that have an impact on the organization. The second factor in pestle analysis is the economic factors. Economic factor involves economic growth of the organization, the economic inflation rates, the exchange rates, and all other economic activities undergoing in the environment of the business that have an impact on the business. So the third factor is social factor. Social factor consists of various social activities that have a direct impact on the business or the organization where it is performing. For example, the demographic factors, the lifestyle changes, the educational level of the customers where the organization is focusing into. These are the demographic factors that have an impact on the organization. So social factors that have an impact on the organization's final bottom line, that is the profit, could be analyzed through pestle as well. The fourth component is technological factor. The various technological changes happening in the organization, like the introduction of AI recently, the other technological tools, technological and various technological that have an impact on the organization's bottom line. Bottom line means profit. So the organization can use special so as to develop its strategy. Then the next component is environmental factors. Environmental factors means the various environmental activities like the global warming, maybe the seasons, maybe the temperature currently where the organization is performing, etc., have an impact on the organization's activities. For example, an organization focusing on maybe the woolen clothes and the climate is like summer at the time, that has an impact on the organization's sales and could impact the bottom line. And legal factors. Legal factors are those policies, the legal frameworks, the various legal changes, maybe like the new rules and regulations undertaken, the various laws passed, etc., that have an direct impact on the performance of the organization could also be analyzed before setting up the strategy for the organization. So the second substage for strategy formation is external audit. So external audit means analyzing the external factor that have an impact on the organization. So if we analyze external factor only, the organization can understand what strategy should the organization follow to set the organization's objectives. It could be done through pestle factor for the microenvironmental factors, and for the macroenvironmental factors, the other tools could the tools like file force model, value chain model, etc. could be used. And the microenvironmental model, no, sorry, microenvironment is the industry specific factors. That is the factors that are specific to the industry where the organization is performing. So the external audit analyzes both the micro factors as well as macro factors. In the macro factor, the organization sees the larger outer environmental factors and the tool used is pestle tool. Whereas for the micro environmental factors, that are the factors that have an impact on the organization, but specific to the industry where the organization is performing. For example, if an airline organization need to be focused on the industry of airlines to understand the micro-environmental factors that have an impact on the organization. The tools used is like Porter's FIFO's model and value chain model. For the macro-environmental analysis, the organization could use pestle factors, whereas for the micro-environment, the organization could use Porter's FIFO's model and value chain model. And let's see what is Porter's FIFO's model. So Porter's FIFO's model is a model to understand the competitive factors that the organization is facing. So it analyzes the 5 competitive factors: the rivalry among the existing competitors, the threat of substitutes, the threat of new entries, bargaining power of suppliers, and bargaining power of customers. It's not just a tool. These tools are used to analyze the organization's industry-specific factors. So rather than seeing it in the theoretical aspect, we have to analyze why this tool is important in the application level. So with Porter's FIFO's model, the organization can understand the various industry-specific factors that could impact the organization's bottom line of performance. See, for example, the rivalry among the existing competitors. If the rivalry is high, if the competition is high, there are chances that the organization will compromise on their profit so that the price could be reduced and they could get more customers. So it is not in a preferable manner for the organization. If the rivalry is less, then the organization could always have a better hand in the business. Whereas when the rivalry is high, they have to limit their profit to survive in the market. The second factor is the threat of substitutes. If there are a large number of substitute products available in the market, there are chances that when they increase the price, the customers go for the substitutes. So they will have to be very cautious about their price, and that have an impact on their final profit. So analyzing the substitute products and their threat is also important while setting the strategy for the organization. The third factor is the threat of new entry. For example, our organization is performing well in the market, and the market is a free market, and the entry of new companies is free. Then the threat is more to the existing organization. They will have to compromise on their price. They will have to compromise on various aspects so as to survive. So for an organization, it is always preferable to stay in a market where the entry is less. However, when the threat of entry is more, they have a less hand in the price. They have less hand with the suppliers. They have less hand over their customers. So it is also a negating factor for the organization. So based on analyzing the threat of entrance, the organization has to set their strategy how to survive in the organization in the existing market. So they will have to look into all these factors. So the fourth is bargaining power of customer. If the bargaining power of customer is small, again the organization has to suffer on their price, and in turn they have to suffer on their marketing, and in turn they have to suffer on their profit line. And the bargaining power of suppliers. If the bargaining power of suppliers are high, the cost for the company is high, and in turn the price they'll have to set will be high, that have an impact on their customers, and their profit margin could be reduced. So analyzing the industry specific factors, Porter's FIFO's model could be used. And the next model analyzing the micro factor is value chain model. So value chain model is also coined by Michael Porter. In value chain model, you'll see the primary activities and the secondary or subsidiary activities. The organization has to undertake or understand the primary activities and secondary activities while setting their strategy. The primary activities are those activities that have an direct impact on the organization's policies and strategies. Whereas the subsidiary or secondary factors is complementary factors to the primary activities. Understood. So value chain model is used to analyze the activities within the organization. For micro audits, for external analysis, there will be the organization has to analyze the macro environment as well as the micro environment. And in micro environment, the organization has to analyze the industry specific factors as well as the organizational factors. For the industry specific factor, the organization use FIFO's model. For the organizational factors to analyze within the organization, value chain model could be used. So value chain model is used for analyzing the activities within the organization. It is used to create value and contribute to the competitive advantage. And value chain model has got the primary activities as well as support activities or secondary activities. Now let's see this in detail. So this is the basic structure of value chain model. I hope you can see the screen. All right. So value chain model, we can divide the activities into primary activities as well as the secondary or subsidiary activities. Primary activities includes inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, services. So inbound logistics means the receiving, warehousing, and managing. That is the inflow of raw materials. So inflow of raw materials has a direct impact on the organization's end product. Then have an impact on the organization's bottom line. So it is a direct factor. Inbound logistics means raw materials coming to the organization, or maybe in case of HR department, the recruitments happening, etc. Operations is converting the inputs into final product. That is a stage of conversion. That is the operations or production stage. Then the third stage is outbound logistics. Outbound logistics is distributing the final product to the customers. That means the raw materials is now produced and now is going out of the factory or out from the organization. So that is the final product moving out. The fourth stage is marketing and sales stage. In this stage, the organization has to analyze its marketing and sales activities to set its strategic management objectives. And the final stage is service, that is post production, post marketing, post sales stage. So let's see what is again how the organization uses value chain model to understand to understand the primary activities and to set its organizational strategy. Inbound logistics means the organization has to set strategies for the inbound or raw materials coming to the organization that have a direct impact on the final organizational output. Then second stage is operational stage. Operational stage is the stage where the input is converted into output. That is the production stage. Outbound logistics is the third stage where the final output is moving out of the organization or the factory. That is the raw materials is now converted into the final products and moving out. The next stage is marketing and sales stage where the organization has to set their strategy to how they are going to market this product, the final product, how they are going to market it to their customers. In this stage, the positioning happening. Positioning in STP, segmentation, targeting and positioning. This positioning happening in marketing and sales stage. And then services is the post-sales stage where the organization gives post-sale services. All these stages have an impact on the organizational strategy formation. So next, let's see the supporting activities. Supporting activities, they don't have a direct impact on the organizational final bottom line. However, they are complementary. They are contributing to the primary stages to have a better output, to have a better final result on the organization's bottom line. Firm's infrastructure. If the organization have proper infrastructure, they will be able to produce a better product. And this could have an impact on the organization's bottom line. The second is human resource management. Human resource management is the department where the organization chooses their employees. So this also have an impact on the organization's bottom line of performance. So the strategy has to be set based on this as well. If the organization is looking for cheap labor, then the skill will be less. The skill is not adequate enough, and the production happening due to this unskilled labor will be very cheap. So the organization has to focus at this level as well to ensure that the proper recruitment happens so that our final goal is achieved with proper quality products. Technological developments, the technological aspects need to be focused on while developing the strategy. The organization have good R&D, good technology, good innovational capability. Those organizations would have a better chance of survival. If the organization lacks in this stage, the survival rate is less as well. And the last is procurement stage. that is acquiring the necessary resources, materials, supplies, etc. So the primary activities as well as the secondary or subsidiary activities or supporting activities need to be analyzed while setting the organizational strategy. So we have seen the formation strategy levels, the strategic intent. This strategic intent talks about the strategic intent. Strategic intent talks about the vision, mission, organizational definition, goals, and objectives. The second stage is external audit. External audit is nothing other than external environment analysis for setting the organizational strategy. External audit consists of macro environmental audit and micro environmental audit. Macro environment audit happens with the help of PESTEL tools, where the organization analyzes its major outside environment, which is large, and the tool used is PESTEL tool. And the second environment audit could be done for the micro environmental aspects, and micro environment aspects are the lesser environmental aspects that has an impact on the organization, but with specific to the organization and specific to the industry. For specific to the industry, the organization could use Potter's FIFO's model, and for analyzing the factors within the organization, that the organization could use value chain model. Now let's see the third stage of strategy formation, that is the internal audit. Internal audit is done for the internal environmental analysis. That is, the organization analyzes the factors internal to the organization. It's a self-appraisal process for the organization while setting their strategy. So self-appraisal, the firms look at itself. So what are my strengths? What are the organization's strength and profit and weakness is being analyzed in this stage. Whereas in the external audit, external environmental analysis, the organization analyzes its opportunities and threats. In the internal audit, the organization analyzes its strength and weakness. In this stage, the organization identifies the core competencies. Core competencies means the key KPIs, key performance indicators, or their best qualities, the organization's best qualities that could help the organization survive. For example, miniature products for Sony. Sony have a key hand, or their core competence is miniature product. So they have a better hand in miniature product than any of their competitors. So this is unique to the organization. This is unique to the firm. So they analyzes their strength and weakness. They look into themselves. They do a self-appraisal where the organization stand and try to improve from that level in the internal audit while setting their strategic management goals or while setting their strategy itself. So, and the two metrics that are used for this internal audit is EFE metrics, that is external factor metrics, and IFE metric, that is the internal factor metrics, evaluation metrics. External factor evaluation metrics is a strategic management tool used to assess the external opportunities and threats the organization is facing. So by using this metrics, the organization could evaluate how the company is responding to the threats that is happening from the external environment. This is internal audit tools where they evaluate the factors outside the organization. How the organization uses its internal strength to deal with the factors that has an impact or that is threatening the organization from the outside environment. Understood. This is purely internal audit where the organization tries to understand how the organization's capabilities are evaluated based on the threats from the external environment. And internal factor metrics is again analyzing the internal strength and weakness of the organization to understand how they cope up with their internal threats. For example, for through IFE, they could understand if they have an issue with their employees, if they have a threatening factor. For example, if there are lacks in their technology, they could analyze those factors that are internal to the organization and they could correct it. Whereas EFA, the major area we need to understand is these are the uh, or the metrics which are used. These are the tools where the organization analyzes the external opportunities with their internal competences. Understood. So we have seen strategic intent, external audit, and now internal audit. The next stage is strategy alternative, generic strategy alternative. Generic strategy alternative has got three major strategic alternative decisions the organization could undertake. And you have to understand that this is not same as the Porter's generic alternative. That is entirely different. This is entirely different. So generic strategy alternative are the alternative solutions or strategies the organization could undertake while they decide to set their strategy. These are the alternatives that the organization decides to survive in the organization. Either they could be stable. For example, an organization which is mature enough and they doesn't have in the growth cycle, they're almost in their optimum level. There is nothing to grow. They could decide whether they have to be stable or they have to come back like that. So these are the three alternative decisions, generic strategy alternative decision an organization could decide upon while setting the alternative strategies. The first is the stability stage, second is the growth stage, and third is the defensive stage. Now, let's see these three stages in detail for the generic strategy alternative. Let me give a clarity first. So, strategic management has got three stages: strategy formation, strategy implementation, and strategy evaluation and control. And for the strategy formation stage, we have seen five stages: strategic intent, external audit, internal audit, general strategy alternative, and the last is corporate business and functional strategies that we are going to see next. So general strategy alternative has got three alternative decisions the organization could undertake while setting their strategy. The first is the stability stage. Second is the expansion stage, and third is defensive stage. Either the organization could decide on whether the organization should be stable or static. Let's maintain the current profit line. Let's stick to the current market condition and let's survive without even expanding. And the expansion stage is like the organization decides to expand and grow further. And defensive stage is going backward. Let's see each one in detail. So stability is a stage where further growth is not possible for the organization. Further growth is not possible means either they have achieved their optimum level so that the organization cannot grow any further. In that stage, the organization could decide whether they need to wind up or they need to be stable. They could just operate in the existing market until and unless any further negative decision has to take or not. And stability could, this strategy could be undertaken at the time of lack of resources. Maybe they have not reached their optimal level, but they don't have any resources to grow further. Or the recession has hit in the market, whether the organization cannot grow further. Or the market is monopoly where they cannot, there is no new entry, so they don't have to expand. They could just survive. They just have to produce whatever they want and the market is ready to buy. In that stage also, the organization can decide whether they take a stability strategy or not. and or at the stage where they have reached saturation. That is, there is nothing to grow further in their growth level. That they have already started, they reach their maturity, and the next stage is only decline. So they can decide whether they could stop at this their maturity. So the next decision will be decline only. So the organization could choose whether they have to stay there or not. The second is the growth strategy. The organization, in this stage, the organization could either choose stability or growth. Growth is like expansion, further expansion. The organization has already reached its stable stage where the further growth in the growth line, the organization growth line is not possible. So but they still want to grow. So they could either expand into a different field. So the major strategy here is the SO strategy. That is, they use their strategy, they use their strength to identify new opportunities. Or they could use ST strategy, that is the strength to deal with their threats. The growth strategy is where the organization decide whether they are opting for SO strategy or SC strategy. Then this could be further, understood with ANSOF metrics. ANSOF metrics here, the organizations use ANSOF metrics to understand how the growth should be taken forward. For example, if the market is existing and the product is existing, the organization could use a market penetration strategy. And if the organization develops a new product and to the existing market, the strategy is called product development strategy. And the organization and the third strategy is market development strategy. The organization could either either stick with their existing product, but they are going to sell it to a new market. That is market development strategy. And all these three strategies together we call intensification, market intensification strategy. So the organization could either market penetrate or they could take a strategy for the product development or for their market development. All these strategies together called intensification strategy. And the final is diversification. The organization could either select a new product to a new market. That is the diversification strategy for the growth of the organization. So let's see diversification strategy in detail. So diversification, the organization could diversify either to a related field or to a completely unrelated area. So related field means integration or concentric diversification, whereas unrelated growth is unrelated diversification is a growth strategy where the organization could look for conglomerate strategy or synergic strategy. All right. So integration strategy, the organization could decide whether their growth should be vertical or horizontal. Vertical strategy means up and down strategy. It's either forward growth or backward growth. When the organization move in the supply line, the organization produce products to reach the customer, it is forward strategy. And when the organization grow and produce the products for the suppliers, it is backward strategy. So either way, it is integration strategy, it's a vertical strategy, it's supply chain strategies, which the organization could diversify. So horizontal strategy is another integration strategy, which is a related strategy, which is a growth strategy, but not in supply chain. Understood. The organization could choose offering complementary or substitute products. Here, the organization is integration, choose integration strategy, but the products are not related. They're supplementary products. If, for example, if an organization which are into manufacturing of cars, they start producing tires as well. That is a horizontal integration strategy by the organization. So they are producing related products, but in a different, they are not in the supply line, but it's a substitute product, complementary product. It goes along with the product. And now let's see the unrelated diversification growth. Unrelated growth is either concentric growth or conglomerate growth or synergic growth. Conglomerate growth is with large number of unrelated products. The business grow with large number of unrelated products. So maybe, for example, we take the case of Kingfisher brand. They were into um, soft drinks, hot drinks, and they move into airline field. Then they move into IPL. This is like conglomerate diversification. They are diversifying. They are taking unrelated growth into different markets, and then the unrelated growth could be synergy as well. That is unrelated business boosting each other. Same in case of Kingfisher as well. So they have their airline business. They are into IPL, and then when they advertise, both of their products are getting the benefit. So it is synergic growth. That is, one product is complementing or helping the other product as well. That is diversification with synergy. So diversification is a growth strategy having related and unrelated diversification. Related diversification could be integration or concentric diversification. Integration can be vertical as well as horizontal. Vertical is either forward or backward. Forward integration towards the customer, whereas backward integration is towards the supplier. Both are in supply chain only, whereas horizontal is not in supply chain. They are producing products that could be complementary or substitute. And the final strategy in the final strategy in alternative strategies is defensive. This strategy is taken when the organization cannot move forward or cannot stand static. They have to move backward. This is a survival strategy where the organization couldn't produce more, couldn't take any other strategy. They couldn't expand, they couldn't grow, they cannot even stand where it is. So they have to take a step back to survive. So moving back to survive, they can either take strategies like turnaround or retrenchment. In this strategy, they will on their cost or on their asset itself. For their cost, either they will cut down their cost. They will pull out some of their employees so that they could survive. Or their asset reduction itself. They will sell out their assets so that they could survive with a less smaller market. Or if that strategy doesn't work out, they will disinvestment. That disinvest means they dilute their equity. They'll sell out their shares and try to find out more finance for the organization and less control over their management. And after turnaround or retrenchment, and even after disinvestment, the organization couldn't survive. Liquidification happens. That is, they go for a liquidity. They will sell out the organization itself. That means the third survival strategy where the organization sell it out properly so that at least they will try to have some liquidity. So with that money, they could at least, start a new business with a smaller business. But even that also falls out. The last strategy, that is the worst strategy of defensive strategies, bankruptcy. They declare themselves bankrupt and they vanish from the industry. So the three strategies are stability, expansion, and growth are the three alternative strategies the organization could take. And the final stage we can is the functional strategy. This is the last substage of the formation where the organization could depend on their corporate strategy, business strategy, or functional strategy. The hierarchy is like business strategy, functional strategy, and corporate level strategy. So business level strategy is the low level comes under the bottom level in the hierarchy. That limits with the individual level. Business level strategies are strategies the organization take for the individual level. For example, if an organization changes its policies or sets strategies for their employees, that is business level strategy, to continue with their business objectives. That is the bottom level strategies the organization undertake. Then the second level is functional level. That is a bit ahead of the individual level strategy. That is the department level strategy. The organization undertake various strategies or formulate various strategies for the departments. For example, they undertake or implement new strategies for the HR, for the marketing purpose, for the sales purpose, so that this have an impact on the organizational profitability. In this stage, the tool uses BCG metrics. And the last and the top level strategy is the corporate level strategy. That is the long-term strategy, the corporate full rewinding strategy. It is the high-level strategy, which is much more complex, which is much more time-consuming for the organization to undertake, and this decides the organization's full structure. The maybe full structure revamping happens at this level strategy. So these are the 5 substages of formation strategy formation. When we go through the contents once again, we'll see from the strategy aspect, then we'll go through the stages aspect, then we will go through the full content once again. So the strategy management can be divided into 3 stages: strategy formation, strategy implementation, strategy evaluation, and control. Strategic management in a nutshell can be defined into 3 different stages, that is strategy formation, strategy implementation, and strategic evaluation and control. Strategy formation could be explained with 5 various strategic substages: strategic intent, external audit, internal audit, general strategy, alternative stage, and business, corporate, and functional strategy. Strategic intent is the basic level strategies that for the strategic formation. Strategic intent comprises of vision, mission, product definition, goals, and objectives. Vision is the founding fathers' vision for the organization. Mission is the strategic or the set process or procedures the organization follows to achieve the vision. Then the organizational definition, that is all about the organization. Then the goals. Goals are mostly qualitative in nature, whereas objectives are quantitative in nature. So the first substage is strategic intent, and we have seen all the requirements in the strategic intent: vision, mission, organizational definition, goals, and objectives. And the second substage is external audit, that is the analysis of the external factors. The third stage is internal audit. Fourth stage is strategic alternatives, and fifth stage is corporate business and functional strategy. For external audit, the organization analyzes the external environment, and for that, the organization analyzes both micro as well as macro factors. So the external audit happens for micro as well as macro factors, and micro factors, it is for the industry and for the organization, whereas the macro factor, it is for the full large macro environment factors that have an impact on the organizational strategy formation as well as for the bottom line of the organization or the final objective of the organization. So macro environment analysis could be done through PESTEL tools. PESTEL is nothing other than analyzing the political, economic, social, technological, environment, and legal factors of the organization. By analyzing these factors, the organization understands its a large macro environment, and the organization set its strategy, try to formulate strategy based on the large environmental factors. And the next audit is the micro environmental factor audit within the external environmental audit. And micro environmental factor audit could be done through Porter's 5 First model or value chain model. And the micro environmental model audit could be done for the industry specific factors, and industry specific audit could be done through Porter's 5 First model, which understand the competitive factors like rivalry among the existing organizations, their suppliers, their customers, threat from new entry and threat from the existing substitutes. And then for the organizational analysis, factor analysis, the organization could use value chain model. Value chain model analyzes the organization's primary activities as well as the support activities. Primary activities includes inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and then post-sale services. And the support factors includes firm's infrastructure, human resource management, technological development, and procurement. Analyzing all these factors, the organization now can set the strategy for the organizational factors. So we have seen external audit. External audit is nothing other than external environmental analysis for setting up the strategy, and external environmental analysis could be done by analyzing the micro and macro factors. Micro factor could be done through industry specific analysis. That is, the organization could use Porter's 5 First model, or the organization could use to analyze the organizational factors. The organization could use the value chain model, and to analyze the macro environmental factors, the organization could use pestle tool. So after strategic intent, the organization, the second stage is external audit stage, and the third stage is internal audit stage. Internal audit stage is nothing other than internal environmental analysis. Internal environmental analysis, the organization uses self-appraisal techniques to understand its core competencies and to understand the strength weakness profile, how they can use their strength to achieve their organizational objectives, and how they can use their strength to deal with the weaknesses or the negative impacts within the organization. So this can be done through EFE metrics or IFE metrics. EFE metrics is external factor evaluation metrics. External factor evaluation metrics, they uses the internal competencies to deal with the external threats. And IFE, that is the internal factor evaluation metrics, they use the internal competencies to deal with the internal threats. So that is clear. And the fourth stage is generic strategy alternative. And you have to understand that this is different from the Potter's generic alternatives. This is simply the generic strategy alternative. So the organization could stick with 3 alternative strategies. Either they could choose for stability, or they could choose for expansion. And if both of stability and expansion strategy is not possible, they could choose for defensive mechanism. So for stability, a maturing organization doesn't want to grow more or doesn't have the scope for grow more, they will stick to the stable position. They will try to maintain its market share. For growth stage, the organization try to expand, and they can either expand through market penetration, product development, or market development, or even diversification. And the strategies combining market penetration, product development, and market development is called intensification. And the strategy, the standalone strategy, is diversification. Diversification happens when the organization wants to diversify a new product into a new market, and that could be either related or unrelated. And related in diversification could be integration or concentric diversification. And integration has got different strategies like vertical integration and horizontal integration. Vertical integration happens within the supply chain. Either the organization go towards the customer, that is forward integration, or they go backward to the suppliers, that is called backward integration. And horizontal integration, where it is not in the supply chain, where the products are, where the organization offer complementary or substitute products. And then we have got unrelated diversification. The organization can grow with unrelated diversification, either through conglomerate diversification or synergic diversification. And conglomerate diversification is nothing other than large number of unrelated products by the business. And synergic diversification happens with unrelated products, each support the other. I mentioned the example for Kingfisher. Kingfisher advertises for their uh, airline model for IPL as well. So both are synergy. One product support the other product. That is synergy, unrelated diversification growth. And the next is the last strategy in the fourth stage is defensive strategy. This the organization undertake this strategy when growth or stability is not possible. They take a backward stage where they will be defensive. They will not grow, but they will sell out. They will try to minimize itself so that they could survive. They'll first try turnaround or retrenchment where cost reduction or asset reduction happens. They could follow that. If that is not that is not helpful for the organization, they will dilute their equity, and even after dilution is not helping out, they will go for liquidification, or that is they will sell out and liquidify, get the company organization is sold out so that the cash could be earned back. At least whatever is possible from the organization, they take it. And even liquidification is not possible, then last and the worst strategy they could adopt is bankruptcy, declare itself bankrupt. And the last substage in formation strategy is corporate, business, and functional strategy. In the hierarchy level, business strategy in the bottom line, it is more focused into individual level strategies. The second stage is functional level strategy, that is department-wide strategy. And the third is corporate level strategy, that is the highest level strategy the organization could undertake. And in that strategy, the organization restructure its corporate structure itself. They could even they go up to restructuring so that their vision and end objective is attained. So they have seen the stages, and I think the time is up. We will see the two other stages of management, that is the implementation stage and evaluation and control in the next session. So I hope whatever we have discussed today is clear to you all. Let me know if you have any queries. I'm ready to clear it out now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I hope this is clear to you. I'll share the slides. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the patience. And
Thank you.
yeah, I hope the concept is clear to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. I'll share the slides. And we'll see the balance in the next session. If you have any queries in between, let me know.